What's up, everybody? It's TJ with Faker to Make It. Today's video is going to be about the Dewalt DWS 780 sliding compound miter saw. So before we get into the video, I wanted to show you what I've been using for years. This is an old 10-inch Makita chop saw that I inherited from my grandfather, who was a master carpenter and cabinet maker. He was an extremely talented man and could just build anything you could possibly think of, and he could build it in his mind without having to draw a single thing out. I'm nowhere near that. But for all of that, in all the years that he spent working with power tools and circular saws and table saws and chop saws, he had a habit of taking the guards off of all his tools. And somehow he managed to go his whole life keeping all 10 fingers, which is a pretty impressive feat given the amount of time he spent with each one of these tools. This old Makita chop saw still runs great, still functions perfectly like it's supposed to. But the big problem with this is it does not have a blade guard. Anything can happen. I keep this saw pretty much about this height, and so you can see that it's right here at my abdomen. Anything could happen, like somebody could bump into me, or I could slip and fall and disembowel myself. Just today, I scratched myself on the blade, just picking a piece of wood up out of here, and just caught one of the carbides. The saw wasn't running or anything, it was just sitting there and it had a scrap block of wood. I reached down to grab it and scratched myself. This thing takes quite a bit of time to spin down, so the length of time that you come up and this thing is still spinning is a pretty good while. So this whole time that you cut something, come up with the saw, it spins for a while. So a lot of bad things can happen in the amount of time it takes for this thing to stop spinning. Here it is. I haven't even broke the cellophane wrapper off the outside of the box yet, so you're going to get to experience this right along with me. Like I said, this is the DWS 780. Now, this saw is rather expensive and costs around $600. Let me see if I can pull this beast out of its cage. Well, first, before that, we have a hold down clamp. Yeah, now we're ready to pull it out of the box. Cool. Okay. Goodness gracious. Coming straight out of the box. Got some nice packaging on it. Got everything nice and protected. Styrofoam on the slide rails. Keep those protected. All right, this is the Dewalt DWS 780 straight out of the box. I haven't pulled any levers or anything. So it looks kind of funny, all curled up in the fetal position like this. So let's open it up. We've got our cord. Move that around back there. Now, this pin here is what we're going to pull out so that the saw can come up. You see, this is what we're missing, or what I'm missing on the Makita chop saw. See how that works? It comes up, it covers the blade. So simple, yet so much safer. So very smooth, very, very nice. Now you do, whenever you set this thing up, if you're going to put it on your workbench, you have to account for this extra space back here whenever you're setting up the saw. If you're going to put it in a permanent location, you got to have this much clearance behind it. Another thing you're going to want to check out before you ever use this thing, and it's probably blatantly obvious to you when you're looking at it, is making sure that your compound is set to 0, because this is, you have a lot of adjustment between there and there. So you make sure if you're going to cut a 90-degree cut, just a regular 90-degree perpendicular cut, that you're going to want to make sure that your blade is sitting at 90 degrees, both 90 degrees to the blade this way, perpendicular to the blade this way from the table and the fence, and from the table 90 degrees perpendicular to the blade this way. So just make sure that you check all that out, make sure it's dialed in before you use it. This is how you move it. You take and push this button down here, this small button. You push that and you can find the detents in the table here and lock it in. These are common degrees and miters that you would use for different things. If you want to use a degree that you do not have a detent for, say we wanted to use, I don't know, say we wanted to use 40 degrees. We don't have a detent for that. It's not trying to lock in at 40 degrees. There's no detent, so we can put our indicator on 40 degrees and use this lever to cam lock the table down so it will not move. This thing will not move, and it's really secure. The way you move it back to 90, you flip this back up, push the button down, or else it'll get caught in every detent in between over here in 90. Just hold that button down till you find 90, and there it is. I have the saw plugged in, and this thing's got all kind of cool features, and I'm really excited to see what each one of them do, because I've never had a saw with this many bells and whistles. So first of all, there's a switch here on top, right here. Push that and you can see that a light had come on. Go ahead and raise it. You can see this bright LED light right here, and I'm going to show you what that does here in just a second. So say I got a line and I want to cut this line out right here. Try to make it a little darker so it'll show up. Have my line marked. Now on the old saw, I would basically bring it down until, and chew at the wood, I'd get it really close before I started cutting, and then I would chew at it and then scooch the wood over left or right to get to the line or the exact spot that I needed to cut. Well, this is using the CUTLINE system, which is really cool. Instead of using kind of a laser, it uses a bright LED light and shadow to let you know that where exactly your blade is going to be. All right, so bear with me on this explanation here. Like I said, typically you would have a laser like on the DWS 779 that would project out and would have a red line going across your pencil mark here. Well, this new CUTLINE system, you see how the LED is showing through the blade guard. Now, whenever I was reading about this, I really couldn't wrap my head around what they was talking about until I started playing with it. So as you come down, you see this fine shadow emerges. See how it goes away? See right there? And you have this really sharp shadow. Well, the light is being emitted from the front of the blade from this way, and this shadow is the width of the blade itself. You can even see the carbide, how the carbide is actually wider. You can see right here where the carbide tooth is shining in the light. That is really cool. So I can actually take and line my line up and place my pencil line right next to that carbide shadow, the shadow that is created by the carbide tooth. And that will work also on if I wanted to cut the other side of the line. So basically, this is an exact representation of your blade as it's going across the wood, and that is really cool. This is what it looks like with the saw all the way up at rest. As I bring the saw head down, the saw guard moves out of the way, and the closer you get, the sharper this image, this shadow becomes of the blade. So we'll bring it to this side, and you can see this exact area right here. That's a tooth, and then back here, so you can actually only see 2 teeth at this point on the line, but that's plenty. So if I wanted to cut to the right, away from the line itself, and I wanted to leave the line, I would just wiggle it until it got right up against that carbide shadow, and then I could go ahead and make my cut, and that would leave my pencil mark. Or if you want to cut the line, you could put the line dead center of the shadow and cut right exactly down the middle of the line. That is a really cool technology that they used on this saw, and I'm glad that I got it. Let's take it for a test run. New tools to me are kind of like shoes. I don't like a brand new tool. I really feel guilty about using it the first couple of times because I don't want to get it dirty. So let's go ahead and cut this side of my pencil line. Look how fast that blade spun down. That's awesome. That is so cool. That is a really clean cut. I had a little bit of stuff there, nothing major, no big blowout or anything. If I wanted to make it even more perfect, I could put a sacrificial block back here to catch it, to keep it from blowing out. But that is an extremely clean, extremely smooth cut. Very nice. I'm really excited about this. So I'm going to attempt to show you how this light works. Right here is where the light is, the LED that shines down the blade and creates the shadow on your workpiece. See if I can shine my flashlight up in there so you can see it. So this is the hood, and the LED is up underneath there where my thumb is. So I'm gonna cut it on, just the light, not the saw. And you can see how it's just basically a baby street lamp that's shining light on this blade, creating that shadow. It is so simple, but so effective. All right, check this out. So you got this little lever here. Okay, you notice that if you try and move it up, it's kind of spring loaded, and as you pull up on it, the button that you press down to move it moves as well. So this is the miter override latch. What you can do is if you don't want to have to worry about holding this button down all the way, the entire way that you move it, so that you don't get caught in the detent, because every time you let up on it, it's going to fall into a detent. So what you can do, push the button down and flip that lever up, and so that holds this button down. Now you can move it without having to worry about getting caught in these detents every so often as you're going around the miter gauge here. And consequently, if you want to line it up at 20 degrees, you can still push down the cam lock and lock it in. I gotta trim out this door that I just installed here in the shop. So what better way to christen this new awesome piece of machinery than to actually do a little trim work here in the shop with it. Let's get after it. So there you have it. That was our maiden voyage of the Dewalt sliding compound miter saw, the DWS 780. This is a really bad to the bone saw. Some of you may not feel that the extra cost is worth what you're getting out of it. That's all a matter of opinion. I feel like I'm getting my money's worth with the extra cost and the cool features that it comes with. So I'm happy with my purchase, and that's in the end what matters, is if you're okay with your purchase. Tonight I will be reading the instruction manual because there's just so many functions and bells and whistles and stops and presets and all that kind of stuff that I need to learn how to use, because here in the very near future I'm going to be hanging crown molding in my house and doing quite a bit more trim work, and I would love to know and learn how to get the most out of this saw that I can. Crown molding has always been one of those kind of things that really intimidated me, but I feel now that I have a nice saw that has some presets and some stops that I'll be able to figure it out no problem. If y'all have any questions about this saw or anything else in the video that you've seen me doing here, be sure to drop them down in the comment section and we'll have a conversation about it. I'll help you out any way that I possibly can. Alright y'all, that's it. This has been another Fake It or Make It video. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the like button and give me a thumbs up so I know that you're enjoying the content. Also, please go over to the channel and subscribe. That means a lot. I'm getting new subscribers every week, and it's just been a really exciting journey so far, and I can't wait to put better and more videos out. Also, if you want to stay up to date on what I'm doing out here in the shop, go ahead and hit the little bell for notifications. That way you don't miss anything. Hey, y'all stay safe and y'all come back now.